CNN legal analyst says Michael Cohen stealing from Trump org is a more serious crime than Trump's alleged falsification of business docs. I'd say Democrats have lost CNN, but they lost them weeks ago.
Yeah.
This court case has been so abysmal for the anti-Trump activists that even CNN, Fareed Zakaria, saying this case would never be brought against anybody whose name wasn't Donald Trump. And I hate how he framed it that way. Please don't use the double negatives. Just say the only reason they brought this case is because they are going after Donald Trump. But they don't want to necessarily cross that bridge, but they'll get close enough. Take a look at this. Post Millennial says, CNN's Ellie Honig says Michael Cohen is guilty of more serious crimes in New York than those alleged against Trump. The fact that he was never charged with larceny is important because stealing $60,000 through fraud is a more serious of a crime than falsifying business records. I want to stress this again. I believe, based on the testimony we've already heard from Costello, that, and what we know about Michael Cohen, the story is that Cohen wanted to pay off Stormy Daniels without anyone knowing. So he took a home equity loan to do it so nobody would know what he did. It doesn't make sense that Trump went to his lawyer and says, can you take care of this and get an NDA signed? Because that's normal contractual work. You go to a lawyer, you say, someone's got a bad story, get him to sign the NDA and pay him a settlement. Why would Trump or anyone need to hide that fact that they're doing something like this? The fact that Cohen took out a home equity loan, admitted to doing this, suggests he was trying to conceal what he was doing. That would mean it's not just $60K stole from Trump. It's not, I was wrong. I said in a previous segment it was $130K on top. It's the tax liability on top of the $130K. So we're talking about $130 stolen without the Trump organization knowing what they're giving him the money for, $30,000 because he pocketed it and didn't give the money to the IT company, and then the tax liability for both payments. Tax liability on $160K, which is going to be what, like $70K or something like this. Cohen stole hundreds of thousands of dollars if the defense is telling the truth that Trump had no idea. And why would he? He's the head of this big organization. He's not even dealing with accounts payable. Could you? Right. This idea is absolutely insane. That I guarantee you Trump's got 80 lawyers or more with all these different organizations, all these different properties. He doesn't know which lawyer he's dealing with.
He's just a functionary with Cohen. Yeah. He's nobody to Trump.
Exactly. And so the idea is that Trump personally goes, no. Cohen was taking care of it because he's trying to butter himself up to the Trump administration, or to the Trump organization. I keep saying administration because he did become president. And I think the reason was Cohen was able to steal money through invoices and he didn't want to kill the goose that laid the golden egg.
So he kept the story going as well.
Yeah, I think for Cohen, it's like, what's your incentive to pay off Stormy Daniels? He could eventually, if he pulls it off, this heist behind the scenes, make himself look good by saying, I took care of this for you. Don't worry about it. I don't know if that's actually the case. I wonder if he's just trying to protect Trump to protect himself.
Yeah.
The longer the Trump train keeps going, he gets to latch on and suckle from the teat without them realizing it. Let me play this clip from CNN for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
The way this was raised and addressed on direct is what Julia Louis-Dreyfus would call yada yada yada. I mean, here's what Michael Cohen said.
I think that was George Costanza.
No.
Was it? It was Elaine.
It was Elaine.
Really?
Yeah. It was Elaine on yada yada yada.
Let's debate it longer. I like that.
But here's the direct testimony, the way Michael Cohen explained what happened.
It's actually a girl that Costanza was dating. But okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, there you go. Michael Cohen explained this whole thing, quote, that's what was owed, and I didn't feel Mr. Trump deserved the difference. That's a lot different than I stole $60,000 from my boss on the transaction at the heart of this case. And by the way, the fact that he was never charged with larceny is important because stealing $60,000 through fraud, which would be larceny in New York State, is more serious of a crime than falsifying business records.
This is one of those.
This is grand larceny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is years in
prison. Couldn't he go to jail for like 15 years?
Yes.
He was convicted for this?
Yeah. Absolutely insane. I can't.
He described it apparently as, well, I looked at it as a form of self-help, which makes me wonder about any other business interaction Cohen has been involved with the Trump organization forever, right? I mean, again, he is convicted of campaign finance issues. He's lied under oath. He's not a trustworthy guy. And on top of that, like now he's openly admitting, oh, well, during this time I was stealing. What else did
I'd like
steal?
to see. I bet you if I was one of his clients, I'd be looking at everything, man. This guy's a total fraud.
Take a look at this from Paul Ingracia. I'm wondering if you could try and fact check this real quick, Hannah Claire, to pull this up, because this looks like Paul is sharing direct testimony, but I'd like to have the actual transcript. Blanche, did you mean it when you said revenge is a dish best served cold? Cohen, yes, sir. You were willing to lie under oath if it affects your personal life, correct? Cohen says, I don't understand your question. Blanche, you testified under oath months ago that you were willing to lie if it affects your personal life, correct? Cohen says, yes, sir. So I'm asking the same question to you now. Would you still be willing to lie if it affects your personal life? Objection. Objection sustained. Blanche asks again. Would you be willing to lie if it affects you personally? Cohen says, yes, sir. So this came out during the trial, of course, so I'm assuming it is correct, but we will get a fact check if we can find direct testimony on that, just to make sure we have it right. But I'm sorry, Cohen is as degenerate as you can get.
Yeah, he's a total degenerate. I mean, the guy's a complete fraud. I would think that this is his whole MO through life. So, I mean, I'm sure Trump's not the only person he's defrauded like this.
We'll shift a little bit because, Dr. Rectenwald, you want to be president.
Yes, sir.
How would you, one of the things I want to know is that, first, I think Trump is on track to win right now. That being said, as someone who is running for president, how would you deal with these abuses of government that we've seen, not just in this case, but first and foremost, likely, I should say with cases like this, but also we can go way down the line with FISA, Julian Assange. What is a libertarian president going to do because with things like this?
You mean with this kind of abuse by the state, the outrageous prosecutions and so forth? I think this goes down to we need to boil down these institutions to the local level, and that we would eventually privatize all this. This shouldn't, the state shouldn't be involved. That's my ultimate aim. But I think in the meanwhile, you de-weaponize these departments immediately, like the DOJ and the New York Attorney General office. This is unbelievable.
But does this mean prosecutions for these people who are acting corruptly?
I think so. Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't they? Because they're corrupt and they're abusing power and they're thieves. First of all.
Sorry, Gateway Pundit's reporting the same thing, and they're saying that Paul Iglesias was live reporting from the courtroom.
Okay.
He was sitting in there, so
there you go.
You can verify the exchange.
They're as big a thieves as Cohen. I mean, these people are just, they're robbing us to engage in their own vendettas here.
I wonder. I saw this really interesting tweet from the Hodge twins. I was surprised to see this tweet because no one saw this. No one's expecting this. They asked if anyone thought a civil war was coming, and it was like, oh wow,
it's a new concept for you, right?
Yeah, I never thought about that, and it was interesting. But I bring that up because there's a reason why it's not. We on the show has talked about the prospect. If Donald Trump gets elected in November, and I think based on all standard metrics, it looks like that's going to be the case. But there is shadow campaign. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I mean, we want to see, I know probably everyone in this room wants to see accountability for corrupt government, which is a bit nebulous, but that ultimately means firings, criminal prosecutions where warranted.
Yeah, starting with COVID. Let's take it to the COVID issue. I mean, we need prosecution. We need investigations into what happened here. The gain-of-function research, all the lies and dissembling about that, paying Echo Health Alliance. And
I think when they were, correct me if I'm wrong, gain-of-function research was banned in the
United States under Obama.
And that's why they did it in China.
But they actually still were keeping it up at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
So, okay. First and foremost, I think that's going to be a product of Congress in concert with the next administration, which we absolutely want to see. My fear, however, is that this is a fear a lot of people have, especially this is a reason why a lot of people are leaning libertarian, because Trump hired people like John Bolton. Trump had bad hires.
Very bad.
And while I still think he did an overwhelmingly good job, there is a concern that he's going to try and negotiate a deal which results in no prosecutions. I mean, he was the one saying, lock Hillary up, and then gets elected and says, we don't want to do that.
Right.
I'm hoping that his attitude has changed quite a bit. Phil's smiling.
That's right.
Look,
but
man,
they put him in a compromised position so that he is at a place where they could push him to negotiate.
He's hilarious and everything, but that man will make a deal in a heartbeat. in a second. If you think that Donald Trump isn't going to cut a deal, any deal that makes him look good,
I was gonna say, do you know about his book?
that gets
Yeah, right.
him into the good graces of Democrats or of the establishment, because at the end of the day, like I would love to see him go in there and actually be the bull in the china shop like everyone talks about. And I'd
Right.
love to see him go in there and be mad and want to get revenge. And I'd love to see all that stuff because I want to see, you know, cabinet level bureaucracy is just eviscerated, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's just remember who Donald Trump is. He is going to cut a deal as soon as he can.
But shouldn't he?
I don't
Maybe
know.
not, because the cases are getting weaker all the time. So I mean, he may be
winning.
He should realize he's in a better negotiating position than he was.
Well, I think Trump has pushed back against the deep state for the past 4 years. And I think he made the mistake in his first term of thinking, now that I'm the president, they're going to fall in line and I'll have to work with these people. But he did not realize what he was up against.
No, not a clue.
I think now he probably has gained enough leverage to where he probably will still cut a deal of some sort. But I think we're going to, like, I don't think that when it comes to any kind of conflict, most of the time you're not looking at absolute victory and claiming everything. Even if you win the battle, the battlefield's destroyed, the buildings are burned, and there's losses.
Scorched earth. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to lose, resources on your side. I wonder if, I mentioned the Hodge twins asking about civil war. Civil war is good for communists. This country fighting itself is good for the authoritarians who can then use, oligarch-style tactics of seizing control in the chaos. And this is what we see with revolutions and how totalitarian regimes rise. So I wonder if it actually would be better for us if Trump gets the upper hand, but does cut a deal that prevents some kind of national divorce or collapse. It means we don't get everything we want, but I'm hoping that it means we get enough of what we need.
The enough of what you need kind of thing, that'd be really great. I know that I've been harping on this and I'm probably going to keep harping on it. We're really, really, really in debt. And unless we get the economy going in a way that growing in a manner which outpaces the inflation and that will only slow the problem down. That's not going to fix the problem. Like growing, like you can't, I don't think that we can actually grow our way out of this. You do have to cut, especially like entitlements, but that's the thing. It's entitlements. It has to be like the unfunded liabilities, your Social Security, the stuff that they have to pay for, not the discretionary stuff, the stuff that they have to pay for.
What?
$1 trillion every 100 days now,
Yeah,
man.
man.
$1 trillion, I saw this, I tweeted this. $1 trillion seconds ago was 30,000 years before Christ. Okay, and we're putting $1 trillion every 100 days is
It's
added
insane.
to our existing 35 trillion now, and
real
over
quick.
150 trillion in unfunded liabilities.
Just real quick as an aside, if 10 years ago you were like, instead of putting $100 in the bank, I'm going to put it in my Bitcoin account. Oh boy, you'd have a lot more money.
10 years
Like,
ago,
was it like $3,000? But at $100 10 years ago, is it $3,000 in Bitcoin now? Or no, it's $6,000.
No,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's more.
more than that.
What would Trump concede? I would hope he wouldn't concede like putting these people on trial for COVID, and I hope he wouldn't concede the possibility of even entertaining a bill like Massey put forward to end the Fed. That's a massive.
Trump's not gonna end the Fed.
I know it's largely symbolic at this point.
Yep.
But if it starts gaining traction, as libertarianism gains traction in the public mind, I think it could happen.
And the Fed is like the shining golden star in the sky.
It's
And-
virtue signaling for libertarians. Okay, we know that. So
Yeah, Trump's not going to do that.
I know. Well-
but I do think Trump may forego criminal prosecutions of higher-ranking individuals, and this is what they always do. Remember in Russiagate, they got that lawyer. What was his name? Kleinsmith? Was that who it was?
I think so.
They get some low-level lawyer on falsifying an email, and then the people who are actually running the show, having these big meetings,
they're
they
awful.
get away with it. And that's a mistake Trump made. I'm hoping Trump learned his lesson, but then again, there's the possibility that Trump is looking at the collateral damage in keeping this conflict going, which ultimately results in absurdities like in 2020, the Boston Globe reporting that war game, that Democrat war game, where they suggested the West Coast secede from the Union if Trump were to win a second term. I think we want to avoid things like that at all costs. Because as much as people would love that emotional satisfaction of like, let the commies leave the country.
Yeah.
The communists need to fracture the United States so they can steal power. In the chaos during revolutions, you look at how communism comes to power. They need chaos. They need fractured confidence so they can start seizing institutions.
Yeah. They did that in Tsarist Russia. That's exactly what they did.
So we in order to avoid all that, what if Trump says, I'm going to win, but it means these people go off and live on an island somewhere and they don't go to jail?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but, you know.
Which island do you think?
The Epstein Island.
I mean, I figured that was implied. No, hopefully not. I mean, hopefully he says those people are getting locked up and we're going to send the Marines to go find them.
Maybe an island you could sink.
Or
yes, if we get enough people on it. You remember, they can't sink.
There was a congressperson that was worrying about an island tipping over.
Tipping over for having too many.
We could send everybody over there.
Yeah, right.
There was an island I saw, totally as an aside. It's like a small island that's only like half square mile, but it's got like 5,000 people living on it. Something ridiculous like that. And anyway. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.